What is up, everyone? Welcome back to yet another multiplayer combat tutorial series. So, I made an episode. I already recorded one, but I changed up an enumeration, I think it was, and I got like compiler errors on everything. So this is the second attempt, but there already is some code in there. So I'm gonna show you like what I did. Hopefully I will remember everything, because the other video that I did is like 30 minutes of me just compiling and fixing errors. So I don't even want to upload that. Basically, what I've done is we've added a combo to the AI as well. So you can see he does different animations, and I think I didn't do that in the last episode, so that must be in this one. That I already recorded. So he does different attacks basically. And that's very easy to set up. So we're gonna do that, and we're also probably gonna give him a weapon. So basically, if we go to our master AI, you can see that I have this function. I think this is the new function that I made that you probably don't have. Decide current attack. Otherwise, everything is pretty much the same, I think. If it's not, if you see something here that I haven't covered in the previous video, let me know in the comments and I'll explain, because then that's just me forgetting to go through that, since I had to backtrack a little bit. But I made this custom event called Event Restart Combat. That also goes to, this event goes to decide current attack. And this current attack decides what attack we are supposed to do with our AI. So, to do that, we need to have different attacks. And here is where I messed up in the other video. Because I think your enemy details attack behavior is probably different now. You don't have all of these attacks. So that's what we need. We need like multiple amounts or we need, wait, excuse me, I'm just gonna close my window. Perfect, sorry about that. So I'm just gonna walk you through what I did basically. So what we need is in the enums and structures, we have a couple of different ones, and I think I set all of these up. Let me just check. Alright, basically, I'm not entirely sure if I made any, because I'm not going to watch through all of my own videos to figure out what I already did in those. So basically, I'm just going to walk you through all of these ones, and so you can check and see if you have all, if the information is correct. But basically, what we have is we have our details. So this is the main one. That's why I put on 1 in front of it. So it's 1_s_AI enemy details. S is for structures or structure. So, and we basically store all our other structures in this structure, because we wanna then we have everything stored here basically in a neat fashion. So we have the behavior details, the movement details, and the attack behavior. And the attack behavior stores the attack details. This is what I'm entirely not sure about. You might only have one attack thing. But basically, first we have our attack behavior. And the attack behavior stores the number of attacks, the aggro animation that we're doing when we see when the AI sees the player, and then attack 1, 2, 3, 4. And the different attacks, these are all structures. So these are all of the type SAI attack details. And the SAI attack details is this one. So basically it just stores what animation an attack uses, the range, and the damage. We can also fill this out later with like attack types like piercing, slashing, things like that. Magic. And then we have our behaviors. This should be the same. roaming, closest player, set player distance. Set player distance, yeah. And the movement details should also be the same. Animation, what blueprint we're using, max run speed, max walk speed, the blend space we're using, and bool if we're using the epic skeleton. And the stats so far are only HP, but could be strength and stuff like that as well. So, you should be up to date on that one. So basically, if you go into the details, and let me just show you what I did with the troll now, for instance. So if in the troll we have the details, so you can see the details here, we can bring it out, and we have the attack behavior, and you can see that we have 3 attacks. We have the aggro animation, we have attack 01, attack 02, attack 03. And they all have different ranges, since this one is a closer attack and this one is a little bit further, and yeah, you get the point. So they all have a little bit of a different range. So if we go back to our AI now, when we decide this function that we made, decide current attack, it's basically just grabbing the details, the attack behavior, and all of the attacks. And we're doing a random from integer on the amount of attacks. So this will just randomize the attack that the AI is doing. You could obviously control it. You could, if you wanted to cycle through, you could just start with 0. Could start with could do something like this. This is one way to do it as well. Current attack. No, we can't name it the same. Current attack index. So if you want to cycle through the attacks, you just do a current attack index. It's gonna be defaulted to 0. And once you've done, so it's gonna do 0 first, then you just grab current attack and then increment it. So that's gonna add 1 to it. So then you just do this on all of them. Dun dun dun. But when you reach the last one, then you want to reset, right? Or actually, you need to check it towards the max number of attacks. So you need to do a branch, basically. So if current attack index is the same or more, then so if the number of attacks is the same or more, this is how you should do it actually. If number of attacks, or if the current attack index is the same or more as the maximum number of attacks, not here, always after. Oh, we can't do that, sorry. Like that. So if the current attacks are more or the same as the current attack index, we are gonna, no, actually I should do like this. If it's false, we increment. If it's true, you set it to 0. That's the way to do it. Perfect. So that would basically reset. So if we if the current attacks index is, or if the max number of attacks is 4, it's going to be 0 here. It's going to return false. We're going to add 1. Next time it's going to be 1. It's going to return false. We're going to add 1. Return false, add 1. Then the last time it's going to be 4. Actually, it's going to be 3. So yeah, it's going to be 3. So we need to do -1. because the index starts at 0. That should do it. Yeah, you can set it up however you want to. This is just an example. It works. I do random because random is fun, but you can obviously set it up however you want to. You could do other ways as well. You can make this fairly advanced if you want to. You could do this deciding on range or what type of damage you had received or whatever. So what happens is we do this decide current attack that sets this variable called current attack, which is basically just a variable of the AI attack details. So it updates this one. So it's gonna set the current attack, and then we're gonna grab the current attack. I see that we missed it's missing something here. I think it's the behavior, right? It's the apparently I don't have that one on this because I remade everything. Wait, that's attack behavior. Sorry. This I think it's this one. Target's closest player. I think you have that one. I'm not sure. So if target's closest player is true, yeah, because this is the closest player target and the furthest player target. And now you can see that we have the attack range going from the attack details here. So that means that he's gonna do the attack when he's, because the acceptance radius is basically how far away from the player you can be when this triggers, or when this returns on success. When it returns success, we're gonna do an animation montage, which will be the attack montage. So basically, if you had a throwing attack or something like that, or a jump, or like a attack when you like teleport to the player or something like that, you would set the range further away. Then you could do an attack with like 1,000 range or something, and it will be far reaching. Set the animation delay and everything. So yeah, I think that's what we are at. 12 minutes. That should synchronize mine and your projects. As I said, let me know in the comments if you have any problem, if there's something I missed, because basically I pretty much redid all of the. I had to redo like pretty much all of the behaviors because I got some weird compiler error that didn't want to get resolved. Yeah, so let's just give him a weapon because this video is too short right now. So let's do a weapon to the guy. Maybe he even has a weapon. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna pause while I look for a suitable weapon. And I'm back. Look, he had his own pretty cool suitable hammer. It actually looks pretty sweet. So let's just choose that. Not sure what this is. A helmet? Doesn't look like a helmet. Okay, yeah, it's a helmet. Cool. So we're gonna give him this axe mace thingy. So if we go into, we don't need our master AI in this case. We're gonna go to the skeleton that we're using for this AI, and maybe we're probably gonna set up this as well. So if we go to our troll animation, we go to our skeleton, and did I do that, or is that's already in? I think this is already made. Nice, sweet. So basically, if you have your own stuff, how you would do it is you would go to the hand or whatever. I'm gonna show this. Yeah, I already I've already shown it with the weapons we're using with the player character, so you should be fairly into this. But you just create a socket. In this case, it's gonna be the right hand, And we already had actually a weapon bone here, and the troll hammer is already. I'm just gonna remove all attached assets, and you can see that we have a socket here on the, so it's called B_MF weapon R socket. That's way too complicated, so I'm just gonna call it AI weapon hammer. And what was the hammer called? SM troll hammer. We're just gonna add previous SM troll hammer, and it should attach. Yeah. So that's now the name of our socket. So if we go into our master AI, on the combat graph, we can do a function, custom event, attach weapon, and right now he doesn't have a weapon mesh, so let's create one. So add static mesh. This is to the master AI, so that we all remember this. And I'm just gonna call it 01, because we might do more. We might do 2 weapons, or we might do other equipment and stuff like that later. Weapon 01. Basically, the procedure is pretty much the same here as it is with the player character. So what I'm doing now is basically, when you're watching tutorial, if you're new to the engine, this is repeating, as you can see, because we've done this already with the player character. So you should be able to do this by yourself. I know that it's nice to have a tutorial, but try to think of it that way. It's like, okay, you've done this in a previous tutorial with the player character, so if you want to do it somewhere else, you can do it somewhere else. You just need to basically copy what you've already done. Sometimes you know more than you think if you just try to set it up yourself. So don't be afraid to change what I do. You don't have to copy everything the exact same way. Things like that. So what are we gonna do? Firstly, we are gonna set the mesh. And this is pretty much my workflow when I do stuff, because I've done this a million times. So I know that I'm gonna be able to do this, but every time I start, I'm like, okay, what do I need to replicate? What do I not need to replicate? So I usually start by just doing everything unreplicated if I'm not 100% sure I need to replicate it. And I just start by doing it. Yeah, normal, basically, because the AI goes on the server. So if we do this on the begin play, if I don't do this event attach weapon, because the begin play always replicates. So if I do this on the begin play, it's gonna replicate. So I don't need to replicate it. But I want a separate function for it, so I'm not entirely sure. So we will see. But we will first set mesh, set static mesh, and we could just put the hammer here, but we're not going to do that because we have this enemy details. So break that, and attack behavior. We don't have any attack. So we don't have a reference to any weapons or something here. So we should probably do that. So in the attack behavior, let's add a mesh as well. So if we go to our enums and struct, and we have our, I'm just going to see so we don't have it here, right? Yeah, I don't think we have it anywhere. So in the attack behavior, we are going to do new variable called weapon mesh 01, and that's going to be a static mesh. And we're going to do a weapon 01 socket name, and that's gonna be a text name. That's gonna be a name. And you could do this with multiple weapons and equipment as well, but we're just gonna do one weapon for now. So if we need to go into your master AI and compile everything. So there we go. Now we have the weapon mesh 01 connected, and we also need to get the weapon mesh, and we need to attach to component and use this component to component. And the socket name we want to use is the weapon 01 socket name. And we want to snap to target. And we'll simulate bodies, but that should be checked already. And the parent is basically gonna be the mesh of the AI. So that's a working function, but it's not gonna work right now because we need to set up we have to firstly call this event. So let's call it on the gameplay. What did I call it? Already forgot. Event attach weapon. There we go. So basically, if we did all of this, we could just do this on the begin play and it's going to replicate. I'm not sure if it's going to replicate this function when it's a separate function, but let's see. Or let's start by seeing it. Actually, it's not going to work because we need to go into our troll. And in our troll, we now have the attack behavior, but you can see that we now also have the weapon mesh and the weapon socket name. So we need to grab this weapon mesh. Don't feel bad if you can't follow. There's lots of stuff going on here right now. Just let me know in the comments if you want me to clarify something. But yeah. Weapon mesh 01. And we have the socket name. And the socket name is in the skeleton. And it's this. Weapon AI, weapon hammer. So we're gonna go in here and we're gonna paste it. It needs to be exactly the same. And we can see it's working. Phew. I switched up the control so I get a little bit confused. I can now jump. Yeah, you can see he has his weapon. That was a grab attack. That's pretty cool, actually. So you can see he's doing different attacks. Grab attack, smash attack. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. Still can't do damage. We're probably gonna do that in the next episode, I think. That's it for now, at least. What are we at? 23 minutes. I think that's good. As I said, a little bit of a confusing video, as usual, with setting up like the weapons and also the fact that I got lost in between videos. But I think everything is in there now. As always, let me know in the questions in the comments if you have any questions. If you're new to the channel and follow along all the way here, please like and subscribe. It makes me super happy. And yeah, that's gonna be it for this video. Okay, thanks, bye.